Battleground Virginia. Tonight, the political world is focused on our state.
So I love Virginia.
With all the other Americans that want change.
Donald Trump is in Roanoke pushing for support.
So Virginia lost 1 in 3 manufacturing jobs.
But Hillary Clinton hopes picking Tim Kaine as her VP will secure Virginia for her.
So let's go make history and elect Hillary Clinton.
Now, a special edition of WDBJ 7 at 6.
Our news team has been working for you today, covering both sides of this story. We begin with WDBJ 7 anchor Gene Jadhan, who attended the Trump rally in Roanoke. Gene.
Chris, just a little while ago, the grand ballroom here at the Hotel Roanoke was filled with more than 1,000 supporters of Donald Trump and Mike Pence. Virginia is a crucial state. In a little more than 3 months, Virginians and voters all across America will go to the polls. And today, Donald Trump said he needs Virginians to go out and vote for him. He asked people to go home, go to their churches, get their friends to come out in November and vote for the Trump-Pence ticket. He pointed out that evangelicals did not come out for Mitt Romney 4 years ago, and he needed their vote to win in November. He also wasted no time criticizing Tim Kaine, Virginia's U.S. Senator, who was Hillary Clinton's running mate. He called Kaine a political hack who's had an entire career in politics, going along with that theme that he is different. He is not the Washington elite. He is something new and fresh for America. WDBJ 7's Joe DeShiel was also here at the rally covering it with me. Today, Donald Trump did not go by a teleprompter. He was not scripted. He was kind of quintessential Trump that we've seen all along.
That's right. He touched on many different issues. It was off the cuff, hitting on a number of different issues. But he also didn't ignore the fact that he was here in Virginia. Right. This was his first appearance with Mike Pence since the Republican National Convention. Also the first appearance together since Democrat Hillary Clinton tapped Tim Kaine to be her vice presidential running mate. And so they were both quick to take aim at Virginia issues. Mike Pence taking on the war on coal, Donald Trump talking about Hillary Clinton's choice for vice presidential running mate.
She's got bad judgment. She's got bad judgment when it came to picking a vice presidential candidate for that side of the party.
We don't need a president who promises to put, quote, a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business. We need a president who supports an all-of-the-above energy strategy, and we need a president who digs coal.
Mike Pence got a rousing round of applause when he said that a Trump presidency would bring an end to the war on coal. And Gene, Donald Trump also had some harsh words for the Hotel Roanoke. It was hot outside, it was hot in here. He described it as a sauna and implied that he might not pay the bill.
Yeah, he said he knows how to run a hotel and they needed to have the air conditioning going. And as I said, he was talking off the cuff. He said, I'd like to talk about what's on my mind, and he did that this afternoon. While he was speaking, there were actually protesters outside. No surprise. Protesters have shown up pretty much at every Trump rally over the past several months. That was this morning. Now, people who say they are against Trump's plan for America. But one interesting thing is that there were also supporters of Donald Trump outside, and they got into a shouting match with some of those protesters. What in the world was that all about? Let's head outside to WDBJ 7's Justin Ward with the latest. Justin.
Hey, Gene, yeah, I've moved inside since it's raining outside now, but it was supposed to be a peaceful protest that turned ugly very fast. People shouted profanities and insults at each other as Trump was arriving into Roanoke. Signs are too inappropriate to show on television. Still, people brought signs of love and stood in silence as people nearby screamed. Rachel Levine brought her 2 children who helped her make signs that read love, not hate. She said she wanted her children to see what this political season was like.
I don't think there's anything more important that I can teach my children than love and compassion. So I think this is the best place we could be today.
I am so tired of the rampant racism. I am tired of the homophobia. This campaign has brought about a very ugly aspect of our American nation.
Other protesters didn't hold back when it came to shouting at Trump supporters. The highly emotional crowd got testy when Trump took the stage. Now, the group Plowshare Peace Center organized the protests. Members of the local Democratic Party aren't finished today. They're gathering tonight to start watching the Democratic convention. Gene?
Thank you, Justin. This campaign certainly has brought out a lot of emotion in so many people. The supporters for Donald Trump and Mike Pence came out early today, many of them waiting for several hours out in that heat just to get a chance to come inside and be here in person in the Grand Ballroom. There was also an overflow room almost as large with people, and actually Donald Trump stopped by that room first before he came to the Grand Ballroom to say hello to those folks in the overflow room. WDBJ7 Shane Dwyer was with those supporters who waited all morning long. Shane, they are just did not mind waiting. They wanted to be here.
Gene, they didn't mind the heat, and you can say that they came from far and wide, although many of the people that we talked to were right here from the Roanoke Valley, and they were happy that they were able to come this close and be this close to what they consider possibly a moment in history with Donald Trump and Mike Pence. The ballroom inside was full, but supporters that didn't get in were able to listen to the town hall from out in the courtyard, but those who did get in say they saw what they came for. Trump spoke about some of his policies, and as Joe and Gene mentioned, his love for Virginia. That really fired his supporters up. When we spoke with them on their way out, they were excited to see what he talked about and said it was what they wanted to hear.
The kids, getting the economy straightened out so our kids aren't paying on their college education for the rest of their lives. That's one of the major ones, and that's just so many different things.
Came for the politicking with my grandfather right here. I treated us to it, and we were blessed and lucky enough to just get the seats that we got and really come see the future president who deserves to be in office.
Trump encouraged people to get out and vote for him, and as we mentioned earlier, he encouraged people to tell their friends and their family and tell them the stories and experiences they shared here today. Some people did not have as good of a day standing outside. Just the latest from Roanoke Fire, 19 people were treated for heat-related illness today at the campaign event, and 5 of them were transported to the hospital. The supporters we spoke with, like they said the heat was not bothering them. They came prepared and ready to go. Gene, many people, like I said, just happy to be here and witness what they consider a moment in history.
All right, Shane, thank you. One of the more interesting moments from today's rally was a question from a young man from Roanoke who touched on one of the more controversial issues in this campaign.
What will be the timeline for that wall that you're talking about?
Jacob, that wall will go up so fast and be so big and powerful and as good looking as we can make it that your head will spin, okay?
Now, I had the chance to talk with Jacob Jones, who is going to be in middle school at Stanton River Middle School. He's from here in Roanoke, was here with his dad and his younger brother. He's 12 years old. I asked him why that question. He said, I just wanted to know when that wall is going to be built. Simple as that. Chris.
And a little bit of courage, too, for getting up there and asking Donald Trump and Mike Pence that question. Gene, thank you. A rocky start to the Democratic National Convention for outgoing chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's resigning after leaked emails suggested she favored Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders during the primaries. The Clinton campaign hopes tonight's all-star lineup will refocus the convention. First Lady Michelle Obama and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren are scheduled to speak. Sanders will close out the evening. As the convention gets underway, Democrats in our region say they're energized by the selection of Tim Kaine as Hillary Clinton's running mate. WDBJ7's Tim Saunders is live with Democratic Party reaction in Bedford.
Chris, the Bedford Democratic Committee is getting ready to open their campaign headquarters here on East Main Street. They're holding a meet and greet tonight with a congressional candidate, but the talk inside this building today has been all about the two people at the top of the ticket.
The November election is just over 100 days away, and the Democratic faithful in Bedford are getting ready for campaign season with enthusiasm about their party's choice for vice president.
I'm really excited about it. I think it's a great honor for him.
Karen Nuzzo has followed Tim Kaine's rise from Richmond City Council to a member of the United States Senate.
And I thought he did a tremendous job as governor of Virginia. And then going to Congress, where he served us very well.
Nuzzo likes Kaine's religious faith. Despite being surrounded by international media Sunday, Kaine and his wife attended a church service in Richmond.
I'm very impressed with how he lives his beliefs.
While party leaders are quick to jump behind Kaine, some voters say they're troubled by his actions as governor. During his last week in office, he approved convicted murderer Jens Soring's request to leave a Virginia prison and return to his home country of Germany.
If he will do that, I mean, I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him.
Major Ricky Gardner investigated the murders Soring was convicted of carrying out and remains convinced of his guilt. Even though Kane's action was overturned by Governor Bob McDonnell and Soring remains in a Virginia prison, Gardner says he and many other voters can't look past what Kane initially tried to do.
I just don't trust him based on that episode of his political career.
I talked off camera today with Carol Black. She is a longtime supporter of Democrats in this community, and she was also the clerk of court back in 1990 when Soring was convicted. She said she was initially very mad at Kane for deciding to send Soring back to Germany, mad enough that she considered not voting for Kane again, but she says she has moved past that, and she believes other voters will do the same, Chris.
Yeah, the question is how many of those voters in Bedford County? Still a very important issue for them. Tim, thanks. WDBJ7.com is one resource you'll need to catch up on for all of our Battleground Virginia coverage today. We'll post all of the stories on our politics page. It was a long, hot morning for those waiting to see Donald Trump. I'm sure that air conditioning at the Hotel Roanoke was working overtime, Robin.
And apparently not working well enough for some people. It was a very hot day. Temperatures hit the mid-90s. You'll notice that Roanoke now is at 81. Why? It's raining. A little cooling effect there. Lynchburg is still quite a bit warmer. Those showers are running right along parallel to 81 and now crossing downtown Roanoke. A lot of lightning associated with it in parts of Botetourt and heading toward Bedford. So keep a close eye on the sky. We're back with a forecast a little later on.
Our Battleground Virginia coverage continues after the break with WDBJ7 senior political analyst Harry Wilson. He breaks down some of Trump's attack points next. Welcome back. I'm joined now by WDBJ7 senior political analyst Harry Wilson to continue our Battleground Virginia coverage. Harry, we saw Donald Trump in Radford University during this past winter. Now we see him with Mike Pence here in Roanoke 2 times in 1 year. You have to imagine that we're going to be seeing more of the Trump-Pence ticket in Southwest Virginia coming up in these next few months.
Well, Chris, everybody talks about Virginia being a battleground state, and certainly for the Trump-Pence ticket, Southwest Virginia is really where they need to accumulate as many votes as they possibly can. They know they're not going to do very well at all in Northern Virginia. This is much more their territory, and they really have to work as hard as they can to maximize literally every vote here to try to pull out the state.
And you see the crowd there, full support for Donald Trump, the ones that got inside the ballroom. So let's talk about inside the ballroom at the Hotel Roanoke, because Joe and Jean talked about how hot it was inside. They remarked that it was hot inside. Let's hear what Donald Trump had to say again about the air conditioning or lack thereof inside the Hotel Roanoke.
But this is ridiculous. And so then there'll be an article. Donald Trump refuses to pay the bill. Of course. And you know what? The smart people say Trump is smart. The other people would say, oh, isn't that terrible, okay? I think the ballroom and the people that own this hotel should be ashamed of themselves. All right, so look.
Okay, so we did get a comment from the Hotel Roanoke. Amanda Kenny, our reporter, got this. In regards to Donald Trump's statements he made, the Hotel Roanoke's HVA system was on, it was working, it was mid to upper 90s, and when they opened the doors to let those people in, the heat got inside, plus lots of people. Not this one little pithy thing, but the accumulation of all of these things that seem to happen at every Trump speech. Will that ever impact him at all?
Well, I mean, that's really difficult to say, Chris, but I think what you see with Trump, as we talked about before, is the unconventional candidate. Trump actually kind of loves, I think, when something really different happens at his events, because without that, with him just doing his extemporaneous talking points, it's difficult for him to really focus and difficult for him to get a lot of attention. This way, he's got something to talk about. So I think it just kind of fits in with the Donald Trump mystique, if you will, or his persona, or whatever it is.
Yeah, and certainly people seem to actually kind of like it. People on Facebook were telling me if it's hot, he's allowed to say it's hot. It is remarkable what that man says every time he comes to our area.
Well, Donald Trump gets away with saying things that a lot of other people don't get away with saying, because that's kind of what he does.
Yeah, that is what he does. Robin Reed, he does a very good job being our meteorologist. He's tracking storms right now on our First Alert radar.
Well, thank you, Chris. And we do have a couple of storms we're going to highlight in. As the rain came over Roanoke, it came after 5 o'clock, which is why the climate data does not show anything. About a 1/1500th of an inch of rain has fallen so far. 96 again here, 96 degrees also in Danville. Rain is beginning to taper off out at the airport, but from Mill Mountain, it looks like Roanoke's taking a soaking right now. Here's another number I want you to notice. At Washington and Lee University, it feels like it's 104. That's because that dew point temperature is a very ugly 75 degrees to go along with that 92 degrees. It just doesn't get any worse than that. All right, here's the shower line. It's running through Blue Ridge on its way to Bedford, dropping down through Vinton and Roanoke right now. Lighter rains here, heavier rains closer to that cell that's heading in Bedford's general direction. I'll bet if you're looking to the west, you can see this towering cumulus cloud. A lot of lightning up to 60,000 feet. There's a heavy soaker in there, so you'll want to kind of take shelter from that. The broader picture shows us the boundary that's going to actually take up residence in our neighborhood all week long. It's right here. It's going to drop down into Virginia, North Carolina, and just sit there. So that means each afternoon we have an opportunity for a cooling shower or thunderstorm. And certainly tonight, the areas that catch some of these showers will be into some patchy fog first thing in the morning. Otherwise, it's hazy and muggy overnight. Temperatures running in the upper 60s to the mid 70s. And then for your Tuesday, a hot and humid forecast is on the way with scattered storms. Much like what we saw today, they would be developing during the afternoon and the evening hours. Highs again ranging from 92 to 94, and it's hotter the more into central Virginia you get. The western side of the state will see more cloud coverage, and as a result, the temperatures will be a little bit lower. Quick hour by hour for you, and as you can see, we start out partly cloudy, and then as we work through the day, we've got at least a chance for some showers and thunderstorms. The stronger chances actually will be coming later on this week. We'll jump up to about a 60% probability. We're 50-50 through Thursday, hugging the 90-degree mark. Then a little bit cloudier on Saturday, Sunday, but our chances of showers do go up just a little bit.
Football season is just around the corner. Coming up in sports, Zach Glover has the story of a local semi-pro team that hopes to make some waves this fall. High school football practice gets underway at the end of this week, but over the weekend, a few of our former high school players tried out for a local minor league football team that is building steam. Zach Glover has the story.
You may not have heard of the Star City Rebels just yet, but the semi-pro football team is working towards becoming a household name in the Roanoke area. The squad is coming off of their first season in the Atlantic Football Association, and over the weekend held tryouts for next year's team.
Last year we started the season with about 40 players. This year we plan on starting it with 60.
And those higher numbers only mean more competition for a limited amount of spots on the team.
Everybody out here, they showing that they got talent, and they coming to prove something this year.
Being from K-Spring, I'm playing with Salem guys, PH guys, William Fleming guys. We used to hate each other. Now we actually got to like each other to be on the same team.
A lot of our guys have played in high school. They coming from colleges. They doing what I'm doing. They just in between right now and don't want to stay off the field.
I graduated from William Fleming, class of 09, went to college, went to Virginia University of Lynchburg, left there in 14. Then I went in the NFL with the Washington Redskins. Got cut there, and now I'm out here.
No matter your previous background, earning a roster spot means paying for your own uniform and gear with no guaranteed playing time and no paycheck. But even still, there are many benefits to making the cut.
6'4".
I'm taking classes at Virginia Western, and I plan to walk on. That's why I use this as an opportunity, to keep my skills intact. You can go to the gym, play pickup basketball, but you can't really, play pickup football in full pads.
You can't get film from it, and use it to get back into the league or get to the CFL that is, or overseas or arena.
I'm using this as a stepping stone to play at UAB since they actually just got their football program back, so it's a dream.
And it's simply that dream of just playing the game that motivates the Star City Rebels.
I don't think it's tough to be dedicated to something if you love it, if you have a passion for it.
Talent is important, but when you're building a team, it's really more about a combination of different people coming together with a common goal. No matter where you came from and what team you played for before, now they're trying to be rebels.
In Roanoke, Zach Glover, WDBJ7.
Stocks were down across the board today on Wall Street. The Dow was down, the NASDAQ was down, the S&P also down. A busy day in downtown Roanoke, specifically at the Hotel Roanoke. Gene, it's a lot quieter where you are now.
Very quiet here. What a difference a couple of hours can make. Chris, as the Democratic National Convention gets underway in Philadelphia with Hillary Clinton and U.S. Senator Tim Kaine from Virginia, Donald Trump is working the battleground states, including here in Virginia. He had a visit here today, and then it is on to Charlotte, North Carolina, where he will speak at 9:30 tomorrow morning. People I spoke with today said he tells the truth. He's for the common man. That will be a big theme in this campaign, Chris.
Yeah, the battleground is true. The battle is on. The ground he's going to be stumping, Southwest Virginia. All right, Gene, thank you very much for your coverage.